Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
This show is brought to you by the Compassionate Friends and the Open to Hope Foundation. Well, we've got a really important topic today, Heidi, one that is dear to my heart because our guest, Joe DiNardo, is a person who's been a long-time meditator, and he's also been through several traumas. One, he had a brain tumor, and he lost his wife to pancreatic cancer in 2015. So he has been through some trauma, and he also wrote a book called A Letter to My Wife, where he's going to talk about, he talks about in the book some of the meditation kinds of things, but we're going to talk about it on the show today about how he's gotten through. How do you want to talk about who he is a little bit?
Like you said, Mom, Joe's joining us from Buffalo, New York, and he had a brain tumor in 2005, and then his wife died in 2015, and I think, these things really had him confront his own mortality. So he's going to talk about how he did that, how he not only survived but went on to thrive, and he's going to give us tips and tools today. So welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
How did your practice help you?
Well, I started practicing meditation back in 1974 when I was just a young lawyer. And I caught onto it and took to the Buddhist practice early on and got hooked by it. I felt it really resonated with me and spoke to me in a very special way. But as with most things, until something tests you, it's hard to know whether or not you're really making the gains that you think you are, or reaching the understandings that you think you're, whether they're intellectual or whether they're really something that you have incorporated into your being. And when I was confronted with the fact that I had a brain tumor, and it was a large brain tumor, and that it had spiraled into the base of my skull, which made it particularly problematic, I had several days before the surgery, and I was confronted with my own mortality, because the possibility of death was more than just the normal, you could die from surgery type of thing that they always tell you before you have your tonsils out. And I immediately was struck by the question in my mind: what am I going to do at the last moment that they're wheeling me into surgery? I was raised for 9 years in a Catholic school, grammar school. I went to Mass 6 days a week, and had the Sisters of St. Joseph hammer me with every concept that the Catholic Church knew. And it's very difficult after leaving Catholic school to try to unchain myself from all of those very rigid concepts and beliefs that had been fed to me without my having an opportunity to debate them. And now, as I was practicing meditation, trying to open my heart and my mind, and trying to let all of these things just open and sort of be free from these shackles, I really asked myself, what's going to happen when I'm being wheeled into the operating room? Am I going to hedge my bets and say a Hail Mary?
What was your practice that you went into this? Did you stop and have quiet moments every 20 minutes a day, or what does meditation look like that you're getting ready?
The meditation practice is quite simple. Train yourself to focus your attention on your breath, Try to keep your attention focused on your breath. But as thoughts arise, as emotions arise, as images arise, rather than grab onto them, try to hold them, or try to reject the ones that you don't like, just watch them. Let them arise, stay as long as they like, and let them pass through on their own accord.
How do you relax your mind?
It's not a matter of relaxing the mind so much as watching the mind. So as you develop your practice, and it's certainly not something you're going to do in the very first time you ever try it, but by the time I had this brain tumor, I had been practicing mindfulness meditation for 20 years.
Okay.
So, and I was a serious student. I had been on multiple retreats. I felt my practice was strong, but it hadn't been tested in this way before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really didn't know what was going to happen when you're actually confronted with that last moment and you don't know if it is your last moment or not. What do you do? Are you going to stay with following your breath, watching the fear arise, watching what the fear does to you, watching doubts arise, doubting the practice, doubting yourself, and just trying to see all of that staying in the moment? Or, as I said, are you going to hedge your bets?
Were you in any pain?
Afterwards, I was in physical pain, and I was very reluctant to take the opioids and the pain medication because I've never been one for taking pain medication in the past. One of the things that you practice when you're in sitting meditation is to deal with pain, because it is inevitable when you're sitting still and not moving for long periods of time, that physical discomfort and pain is going to arise in the body. It just will happen. And normally what we do is we immediately react by moving to a more comfortable position. But many meditators take that discomfort and that pain as an opportunity to learn more about themselves, about the pain itself. What is it? What does it look like? Is it in fact a solid mass of pain as we normally experience it? Or is it something different than that? Can we look at it? Can we observe it without laying on all the concepts and the fears that we have about what pain is going to do? It's going to be there forever. It's going to cripple us. It's going to whatever.
Well, and I want to ask you before we close the show this. I hearing you, I can see you're a very calm person, and I am wondering how I start to get where you are. I've never meditated.
Take a comfortable position, back straight, feet flat on the floor. Gently close your eyes, and first relax your body as best you can. Just scan the body and take all the tension out. After you feel that sense of physical relaxation, bring your attention to the physical sensation of breathing. Whether it's the physical sensation you feel at the very tip of your nose when the air comes in and out, or maybe it's the rising of your abdomen as you breathe in and out, whichever you feel most comfortable in terms of the sensation. And just rest your attention on the sensation of breathing. Stay with it. And as thoughts come, let them just drift through your mind, but stay with the breathing. Let the breath be like an anchor of a sailboat As things take your mind this way and that way, the anchor will grab you and bring you back to the breath. So each time you fall away, all of a sudden you catch yourself drifting off. And the practice is coming back to the breath. That's the practice, coming back to the breath.
You know, that is so great and so simple. I want to thank you for that. And I know that you, as you said, have been on many retreats and done many things. So, you know, as you get better at it, as you do it, but it's so simple, I can get started on it. We want to thank you all for watching this show today. And Heidi and I always want to remind you, if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.